Friendly warning, this is said to be a truly terrifying horror film. It's the stuff of countless people's nightmares. Based on real supernatural events in Indonesia, with a bizarre plot and intense visuals, even ghosts would be scared watching it. Highly recommended for fans of the original Annabelle doll. Ghost doll Sabbrina, the sister-in-law. The story takes place in a small Indonesian town. Chen Yi's wife suddenly wakes up next to her sleeping husband. Violent coughing follows. Then she involuntarily spits blood. Terrified, she goes to the living room, about to drink water for relief. But then, she's controlled by an invisible force. Her body becomes like a broken dam. Blood pours endlessly from her mouth. She falls heavily to the ground, unconscious. Her eyes roll back, as if seeing something horrifying. From then on, she's bedridden, unconscious. Her husband consults many doctors, but they can't find the cause. As time passes, her condition worsens instead of improving. Worse still, her face begins to blacken and rot. But the strange occurrences are far from over. One day, as the husband returns from work, he hears his wife's heart-wrenching screams. Following the sound, he approaches the window. A chilling scene unfolds before him. The husband realizes his wife is possessed. He quickly calls the town's famous exorcist. The exorcist warns, no one must enter during the ritual. But the bewitched husband bursts in midway. Before anyone can react, the possessed wife bites off her husband's neck, killing him brutally. After a fierce battle, the exorcist killed the evil spirit but couldn't save his wife. She vanished with the demon, leaving their 8-year-old daughter Xiaomei an orphan. Fortunately, she had a loving uncle and lived with relatives. On Xiaomei's birthday, her uncle and aunt prepared gifts. Still grieving her parents, she thanked them but went upstairs without looking back. At school, Xiaomei saw classmates playing Charlie Charlie, rumored to summon spirits. Intrigued by the chance to see her parents, she watched sadly as others left after the game. She asked Xiaopeng to borrow the game, hoping to see her dead mother. He lent it, saying using it with the app would let her see deceased relatives. That evening, Xiaomei eagerly started the game at home. As rain fell, the planchette moved. Xiaomei held her breath, trying to summon her mother. She opened the app, searching for her mother's spirit. Following its guidance, she went to the basement. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the detector. It was her aunt looking for something in the basement. Learning what happened, her aunt comforted her and gave her a doll named Sabbrina. Xiaomei loved the doll and fell asleep hugging it. Then, something strange occurred. The next morning, uncle and aunt were getting ready to wake Xiaomei for school, but to their surprise, she was already up and downstairs. She was still holding the strange doll aunt had given her last night, smiling joyfully as if the doll had magically eased her sorrow from the loss of her parents. She handed the doll to her aunt, then got ready to leave with her uncle, giving her aunt a kiss goodbye before she left. Aunt was a bit surprised by this sudden change, but she didn't think much of it and started her day. Shortly after they left, mysterious music was heard from upstairs. She went up to check and discovered that the music was coming from Xiaomei's room. She opened the door to find the music box playing and quickly shut it off. Just as she was about to leave, the music box turned on again mysteriously. She turned around in disbelief and, despite her fear, pushed the door open again. She was stunned by what she saw. The doll that had been on the first floor was now mysteriously in the room. Panicking, she slowly pushed the doll away. Just as she was about to close the window, a horrifying scene unfolded. The doll, which had been facing away, slowly turned around and stared at her. Deeply terrified, she quickly fled the room. That evening, Xiaomei, still restless, started playing the Ouija game again. She opened the app and followed the directions to the basement. She held her breath and cautiously moved forward, and suddenly a spirit appeared on the screen. It was a doll. Just as she was starting to relax, another horrifying event occurred. The closet slowly opened, and ghostly hands reached out and pulled Xiaomei inside. She screamed loudly, but thankfully her uncle, hearing her cries for help, rushed in and opened the closet to rescue her. The room had already returned to normal, and Xiaomei quickly explained everything. After learning about it, to prevent her from playing with the Ouija game again, Uncle temporarily took her tablet. However, late at night, while Uncle was asleep, Xiaomei quietly came back into the room and retrieved it. He missed his mother so much that he opened a psychic app to search for her. The app detected a spirit again moments later. This time he finally found his mother's ghost, fulfilling his wish. He approached his mother and expressed how much he missed her. Then his mother took Xiaomei's hand and they slowly returned to the room. Xiaomei, now Mom won't leave you again. The next day, Grandma came to wake Xiaomei up. Opening the door, she found Xiaomei already up, combing her doll's hair. He told Xiaomei to get ready for breakfast, but heard her talking to someone as he left. Puzzled, he looked back, but everything seemed normal when he opened the door again. He dismissed it, but after Grandma left, something terrifying occurred. After a while, they didn't see Xiaomei come down for breakfast. Grandma, worried, went upstairs but found a doll blocking her path at the stairs. Simultaneously, Xiaomei's voice came from the attic. He searched the attic but couldn't find any trace of Xiaomei. Suddenly, a sound came from behind and Grandma turned sharply. Xiaomei revealed she was playing a game with her mom. Thinking Xiaomei was still grieving, they planned a beach vacation to cheer her up. However, strange occurrences continued. At the beach, Grandma saw Xiaomei talking to thin air and dancing happily. Xiaomei claimed she was collecting seashells with her mom. Alarmed, Grandma told Xiaomei to stay put while she went to find Uncle. Unexpectedly, ghostly hands dragged Grandma into a sandpit on her way back. Uncle ran desperately upon hearing Grandma's cries, finding only her hand visible. Fortunately, Uncle arrived just in time. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unthinkable. The frightened aunt hugged Uncle tightly, but then they noticed Xiaomei standing nearby, coldly watching everything in the dead of night. Aunt, still awake from earlier events, was drawn to piano music. She followed it to the hall and found a woman playing. To her shock, the woman was Xiaomei's long-dead mother, Anna. Suddenly, the playing stopped. The woman slowly turned to look at her. The next second, Anna rushed at her like the wind. Terrified, Aunt ran and hid in a dark room. She lit a match, but something even more horrifying happened. Aunt's scream woke Uncle. He followed the sound and found Aunt curled up on the floor. Aunt realized Xiaomei wasn't lying. Her mother had been nearby all along. Seeing Uncle's confusion, Aunt led him back to the hall. But everything seemed normal when they returned. Then, strangely, they saw Anna on a nearby security camera. Yet, when they turned, she wasn't there. On screen, she kept approaching. As they stood puzzled, in an instant, an invisible force lifted them into the air. Just as they were chilled with fear, an even more terrifying scene unfolded. Frightened, they ran back to their room and quickly locked the door. They grabbed Xiaomei as the evil spirit nearly broke in. In desperation, Aunt hung Buddhist beads on the door, temporarily forcing it back. Shaken, they hugged tightly. Knowing they were targeted, they left early next morning to seek help from a famous local exorcist. After learning what happened, the exorcist believed May had summoned her deceased mother, Anna. The incomplete ritual caused Anna to linger, triggering a series of strange events. Sending Anna back would end everything. The exorcist lied about a seance game, asking May to summon her mother again, then had her aunt take May to her room. As the exorcist began the return ritual, the table mysteriously caught fire, burning the tools. Anna clearly refused to leave. Meanwhile, the lights in May's room flickered eerily. Suddenly, the lights went out. Thunder roared outside, hinting at impending danger. When the lights returned, May was possessed. She grabbed scissors and stabbed her aunt. The aunt fell, unaware of what happened. May then ran towards the others downstairs. Those downstairs were oblivious to the events upstairs. Everyone finally reacted, pinning the possessed May to the ground. The exorcist, enduring pain, began the exorcism. As he chanted, May slowly calmed down. With spiritual power, the evil spirit was forced out, and May gradually awoke. Just as relief set in, a terrifying scene unfolded as the evil spirit finally appeared. The exorcist was shocked. May hadn't summoned her mother, but a demon named Bakia, skilled in disguise. Injured, she was no match for the spirit. They sealed her in the house and left temporarily. The exorcist was rushed to the hospital, but luckily the treatment was timely, and there were no major issues. A long-forgotten past was slowly revealed. She was the one who exorcised Xiaomei's mother years ago. She killed the evil spirit but couldn't save Anna. Xiaomei's parents died at the hands of Bakia, the demon's son. Years later, the spirit wasn't dead, it possessed Xiaomei again. Learning Xiaomei was Anna's daughter, she felt this case might not be so simple. The exorcist told them to wait. She'd return to solve everything after recovering. This time, he was determined to slay the evil spirit. The exorcist sent his assistant south to find a holy knife hidden by demons. The holy knife was made to restrain demons, so they buried it in the mountains. The exorcist knew only the holy sword could destroy Bakia completely. Days later, they returned, ready to face the evil spirit in a final battle. They raised their spiritual weapons, prepared for the fight. Surprisingly, the evil spirit was no longer in the house. That night, they failed to seal the spirit. It had possessed the doll, Sabbrina. At the uncle's factory, a terrifying scene unfolded as they explored. Shen rushed Xiaomei upstairs to find her uncle. As they fled, the spirit possessed Shen, locking the doors. Uncle told Xiaomei to run. Meanwhile, the exorcist arrived at the scene. When Xiaomei returned with them, Shen was already possessed. The spirit, controlling Shen, charged madly at the exorcist. After a fierce struggle, they subdued Shen, pinning him down. The cornered spirit, begging for mercy, revealed a shocking secret. A few years ago, two brothers working for the family company faced very different circumstances. The elder was talented and favored by their father, while the younger struggled to meet expectations. Suddenly, their father passed away, leaving the family fortune without an heir. The uncle thought he could finally rise in the company without his father's restrictions. But when the will was read, he was shocked to learn the truth. All company shares went to the elder brother, while the uncle only received a few properties. This stark difference in treatment planted a seed of hatred in the uncle's heart. One day, the uncle summoned a demon hoping to replace his brother as the heir. Little did he know, dealing with demons comes at a great price. As the ritual began, the summoner chanted the spell. The summoner continued chanting the spell. Unexpectedly, the demon possessed the elder brother's wife, Anna, instead. This set the stage for our story's beginning. Despite the mishap, the uncle ultimately got his wish, eliminating his brother's family and inheriting the fortune. But now, a dying demon has exposed all of the uncle's misdeeds. As the truth came to light, the uncle bowed in remorse, while an exorcist banished the evil spirit. Bakia, the demon, appeared but was too weak to fight back. Without hesitation, the exorcist used a holy knife to destroy Bakia completely. With a final wail, the demon's son Bakia vanished, utterly defeated. Now the uncle faces legal consequences, proving human hearts can be more terrifying than demons. His suspicion and jealousy led to his downfall, ruining both his brother and himself. And so, our story comes to an end. See you next time.